So you watched another self-improvement video yesterday. Felt good for about an hour, right? Maybe you even wrote something down and you told yourself that this time it'd be different. And then you went right back to doing the exact same thing you've always done. So here's the thing, and I need you to hear this, alright? That pullback has nothing to do with discipline. You didn't choose to go back, you know that, right? Something just ran. And you're not lazy, you're just running old code. And by the end of this, you're gonna know exactly who wrote that code, when they wrote it, and how to overwrite it tonight. Because honestly, you can feel it, right? That slow drift away from who you actually wanna be. Every day that you don't change this, the gap gets a little bit wider. And that's exactly what we're gonna stop today. So let me name the thing that you've probably been telling yourself, right? Because I used to tell myself the exact same thing. I know what I need to do, I just can't make myself do it. And the story always goes something like some version of, I'm just not disciplined enough. Like, you're broken. Like there's this thing called willpower, and everyone else just has a bigger tank of it, and yours just runs out by noon. And I get it. That story makes sense because you have tried, right? You've had the plan, you've had the system, you've even had the motivation for like a day or maybe even a week, and then you still went back. So what else could the explanation be? You just don't have enough discipline. End of story. But here's the thing, and I want you to think about this honestly, okay? Have you ever had a project or a week or even just a single day where discipline was easy? Where you didn't need to force yourself, where you just did the thing? Like, maybe a deadline forced you to just become a machine, or maybe a new obsession consumed you and you couldn't stop working on it. If the problem were actually discipline, those moments wouldn't exist, right? You'd be broken all the time, in every context, not just some of the time, right? But you're not. You're only undisciplined in specific areas, and that is the crack right there, because it means your problem was never about your discipline. It's about something else entirely, something that almost nobody ever talks about. So, let's think about this thermostat in your house, for example, right? Let's say we set it to 21 degrees. Now, you can open every single window in your house, or you could blast your heater full blast, but it doesn't matter. Just give it an hour or so, and that room will always come back to 21 degrees. Why? Because the thermostat doesn't care what you want the temperature to be, it only cares what it's set to. Your self-image works the exact same way. Somewhere in your nervous system, there's a setting for the kind of person that I am. And whenever your behavior drifts away from that setting, you get pulled right back. That's the snapback. And it was never about willpower. You're fighting a setting that somebody else installed. And this isn't just some theory I made up, okay? Back in 1960, there was this plastic surgeon named Maxwell Maltz, and he noticed something that honestly just broke his brain a little bit. So he would fix a patient's face, right? Like genuinely just correct the thing that the patient hated their whole life, and the surgery would work perfectly. And then, weeks later, the same patient would look in the mirror and say, I still feel ugly. The face changed, right? But the setting didn't. And Maltz realized that he had been fixing the wrong thing. The face was never the problem. The setting was the problem. And he wrote a whole book about it. So then, who set yours? Because you didn't. That setting got written when you were like 12 years old, from how your parents reacted to you, from how your teachers talked to you, from what your friends laughed at. A kid, a literal child wrote it, and you've been running those settings ever since. Now, here's the good news, okay? Like the thermostat in your house, that setting has a dial. There was a study at Harvard back in 1995 where they had two groups learn a simple piano piece. So one group practiced on a real piano, 2 hours a day. The other group just imagined practicing. Same 2 hours, by the way, they just never physically touched a key. And then when they scanned both groups' brains afterwards, they changed the same way. Imagined practice rewired their brain just like the real thing. That is the dial. Now, new experience rewrites the setting, and your nervous system doesn't actually care whether it happened in an actual physical room or if it just happened in your head. So the setting is rewritable. You can make deposits into it and your nervous system will just accept it. You don't need more discipline. You need to change the setting. And in a minute, I'll show you exactly how to start making yours, okay? But first, let me just show you someone that actually changed his setting, because that person is the reason I exist. Let me tell you about a story about someone who actually did this. When my dad was 18, he got offered a manager position at a company that would have paid for his entire college education. So free degree, paid job, no risk. That's a pretty good deal for a kid with no money, right? But he turned it down. He decided that he was going to go to university even if it had to be on his own dime, because to him, not for everyone, but to him, he found that there was an important difference between college and university, and he wanted to go to university. And now let me paint a picture of what that actually looked like. He was the only student in his class who wasn't paid to be there. Everyone else had it covered, not him. He worked weekend jobs just to make rent. He slept in a sleeping bag because he couldn't afford to turn the heating on. He walked 40 minutes through the snow to get to campus because transport was a luxury that he just didn't have. And he finished on time because another year was literally unaffordable. Now, here's why I'm telling you this. My dad's thermostat at 18 said, "You're the poor kid. Take what's offered. Don't reach." His entire environment confirmed that. The safe path was right there. And he looked at it and he said, essentially, that's not who I am. He didn't have better discipline than you and me. He didn't have a productivity system. He just changed the setting. He decided, I'm the kind of person who bets on himself. And then the behavior followed. The sleeping bags, the snow walks, the weekend jobs, all of it came after the identity decision, not before. I exist because my dad decided that his thermostat was set wrong, and then he changed it. So now, you're sitting here with two paths in front of you, right? One path is you close this video. You feel that familiar little spark of, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then tomorrow you wake up and the thermostat is still set to the same number. A week from now, you've forgotten this. And a month from now, you're watching another video just like this one, getting the exact same little spark and then losing it the same way. And a year from now, you're in the exact same spot with the exact same story as the exact same person, only now you're just older. Still telling yourself, I know what I need to do, I just can't make myself do it. Still stuck at the same setting. And you know that feeling because you've been there. You've been there before and you know exactly how that story ends. Now, let's flip that around. The other path. You actually do the one small thing I'm about to give you, not tomorrow, tonight. And it takes a couple of minutes tops. And over the next week, that tiny little act starts to shift something. Not dramatically, mind you, not overnight, but the thermostat moves 1 degree, and then another, and then another. And then 6 months from now, you're not fighting yourself anymore because you're not trying to be disciplined. You just are. That's just who you are now because the thermostat says so. And the decision is yours, but honestly, you're already making it by default. Every day that you don't touch the dial, you're essentially just choosing the first path by default. You're choosing to let a setting you never even chose keep on running your entire life. So, here's what you actually do tonight. And I promise you it's not standing in front of a mirror and saying nice things to yourself. It's 2 moves. It takes a couple of minutes, and the second one is the actual rep. So, the first move, all right? Tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to think about the kind of person you aspire to be. Not realistically, ideally, okay? The version of you that you would build in like a character creation screen in a game if nobody else was watching or judging, okay? So now you write him down. One sentence, one paragraph, however long you want to make it. I don't want to make this like homework that you dread doing and then you don't do it at all. It can just be one sentence if you're that lazy, okay? Now that becomes your North Star. And it exists on paper now, like physically, tangibly, which means tomorrow you can't pretend like you never wrote it. Now, move number 2. Right after you write it, close your eyes for 60 seconds, okay? And run the movie of how that version of you starts tomorrow morning, okay? Not his dream life, just tomorrow morning. What happens when his alarm goes off? Does his phone stay face down or do you immediately reach for it? What's the first thing that he actually does? Make it specific, like boring even. And then you're not just imagining being him, you're imagining what he does tomorrow morning. Now, here's why that it has to be that way around, because this is the part that everyone gets wrong. You've probably done this before, right? Like you've pictured the end result, right? You imagine how good it's going to feel when you finally achieve that thing that you want. And then somehow less gets done afterwards, not more. So researchers at UCLA actually figured out why. They took students a week before an exam and then they split them into 3 different groups. One group visualized getting the grade that they want. They like seeing the score, feeling the win. Another group visualized studying, like the actual act of studying itself, like where and how they'd sit down and how they would do the work. And then the third group just didn't visualize anything at all. They just went about their week. So you would think that both the visualization groups did better than the do nothing group, right? But the outcome group actually did worse than the do nothing group. They studied 5 hours less because their brain already got the reward. They already felt what it was like to get the good grades. They felt content already, so they did less and then they got a worse result. The process group beat everyone just straight up. So the movie is always about tomorrow morning, not the finish line, okay? And remember, your nervous system files imagined experiences like the real thing. So every 60-second run of that movie is a deposit into your thermostat that it actually accepts, okay? 1 tonight, and then 1 tomorrow night, and then 1 every night after. You just visualize yourself doing the thing. Being the kind of person who actually is able to achieve the thing that you want. You don't just imagine having the thing that you've already gotten and you've already achieved. No. It's not about the results. It's about the process. Visualize yourself being that person, not just having what that person has. That is what a builder does, by the way. Not someone who talks about building, not someone who thinks about building, someone who builds. You're deciding tonight that you're a builder, okay? And that makes tonight the night that you stop watching and start building. So, you watched another self-improvement video, right? But honestly, this one ends different because tonight there's gonna be a sentence on a piece of paper that didn't exist this morning and 60 seconds of a movie that your nervous system just can't tell whether it's the real thing or not. That's the first deposit into the new setting, That is your first rep. So get to it.